The story will be shown with an experimental egg that is injected with chemicals and turns into two parts. Every film star has their heyday, they will be famous, but over time they will also be forgotten. She is Lizzie Sparkle, whose nickname is Elizabeth Sparkle, a very famous fitness and exercise-themed TV show host. After the TV broadcast finished, Lizzie decided to go to the toilet, but at the door she saw a sign that the women's toilet was broken, so Lizzie decided to go into the men's toilet. At the same time, the producer came, who was talking about Lizzie, who had to be replaced because of her age, which is old and no longer beautiful. The producers mocked Lizzie as a rickety old woman without realizing that the one she was talking about was in the same place. Because of this, Lizzie was sad and pondered the fate of her career. When they met, the producer then told Lizzie that he had to fire Lizzie and replace her with a younger and fresher model because the producer wanted the show to be successful and have lots of viewers. On the way home, she was driving and saw a billboard with a picture of her being dislodged. It was really tragic because she wasn't paying attention to the road. She was hit by another car, so she had to be hospitalized. The doctor said that he was okay, and the doctor saw in the note that today was his birthday and said that his wife was a big fan, but he didn't respond and instead cried. When Lizzie was about to leave, she was held back by the doctor's assistant who examined her twice. The doctor's assistant also gave her clothes so she could go home. It turned out that in his pocket there was a plastic disc and a letter saying that it could change his life. Suddenly, someone greeted Lizzie. It was Fred, her old high school friend. Fred said that she was very successful at the moment. Fred invited her to dinner and chatted about the past. Fred also gave her his telephone number. When she got home, she activated the video player, which said that she could be younger, more beautiful, and perfect. The substance can multiply its body in two, changing each other once every 7 days. She ignored it and threw it in the trash. After contemplating that she was no longer beautiful and that her career was on the line, she decided to take her flask disc from the trash and order the substance. In the morning, she found a letter about her order yesterday. 503 was the place where the seller put the goods that Lizzie ordered. Lizzie found that the address was under the stairs and looked very dirty. Even Lizzie had to bend down to get in. However, when inside, everything looks different, unlike what you see outside. All the rooms are white with numbers printed on each locker. Lizzie opened the package. The activator can only be used once. Stabilizer for injection into another body. There are food matrices and other foods for the body. Activate only once, and once active, Lizzie has to stabilize it. Every 7 days swap, and remember you are one. Lizzie started to inject the activator into her hand. At first, she didn't feel anything. After a few seconds, Lizzie experienced dizziness, which caused her to fall. Lizzie groaned and felt something on her back, as if something was moving and wanted to come out of her. The pupils have now doubled in size, and a new body has emerged from his back. When Lizzie woke up, she saw herself lying on the floor and suddenly wanted to look in the mirror. Apparently, she had now turned into a very beautiful young girl with body goals. After that, he took action for the other person with his back split. Young Lizzie sewing up the tear and give him metric food so he can survive for 7 days. After that, young Lizzie felt dizzy and remembered to use a stabilizer so that her body could adapt. Lizzie injected it and sucked out the liquid to use on herself, which she is now using. Really beautiful and has a very nice body. Lizzie saw a talent search paper in the trash for a replacement for her old self. At the casting place, Lizzie introduced herself by the name Sue. With her perfect body like now, Sue was immediately accepted for the role to replace the old-fashioned Lizzie Sparkle. Sue's new daily life is now experiencing. It's really exciting to be a beautiful young star. Day after day, Sue passed with the dance skills of her former body. Of course, she adapted very quickly to the dancers. Now it has been exactly 7 days since he swapped bodies with Lizzie. Sue prepared a device to swap themselves, injecting a tube to connect their blood. The old Lizzie has returned. With her consciousness, she feels the pain caused by the tear in her back. Lizzie returned to her previous workplace, and now the producer has tittied up her things and given her a cookbook so that Lizzie can have something to do. The book is also a goodbye to her. Now the day he was waiting for was finally coming back, and the refill equipment has been sent to the locker. Sexy lips, slender body has now returned. Sue, as she is called, is now thinking about something about her other body. She is thinking about a place to put her decent body. Sue also found an empty place on the other side of her apartment. Of course, she did everything herself, but the noise made her neighbors feel disturbed and decided to confront Sue. Instead of being angry, the neighbors were melted by Sue's beauty. The neighbors thought that Lizzie was the one who caused the commotion, pulled Lizzie's body, and put her into the dark room. And now Sue is ready to shine with her very upcoming dance show. With Lizzie's skills before, but with her ideal body, Sue is going through this day with full success, which makes the producer very, very proud of Sue. Like young people who now have very good bodies. Of course, Sue has a lover, and tonight she plans to make love with her lover. While her Matrix food ration had run out and caused her to almost lose consciousness, Sue took the stabilizer and injected it again into her original body, which she shouldn't have done. Now Sue has returned to her lover to continue her activities. Suddenly, Sue instead returns to Lizzie's body. When she saw the letter written by her lover, Lizzie was shocked because her hands had turned very old. Lizzie also called the substance dealer that her other self had violated the rules and sucked herself too much, making her old now. The distributor also told him again that Lizzie and Sue were one. Lizzie saw herself appearing on TV, but instead of being proud, she was actually annoyed and irritated. Lizzie took her equipment refill package again, but this time it was different. Lizzie felt that someone was following her. It turned out that he was actually greeted by an old grandfather who asked about his other self. Had he gnawed on his body? Apparently, the old man was the doctor who told him about the substance. Lizzie ran away, and by chance she met her boyfriend, Tommy. Her boyfriend didn't realize that it was Sue. Feeling like she had lost herself, Lizzie contacted her friend Fred first so they could reminisce. Lizzie is getting ready to have dinner with Fred. They will meet at the restaurant at 9 p.m., but Lizzie looks hesitant to meet Fred. When she saw the billboard, she felt inferior because she now looked old and no longer beautiful. Because of this, Lizzie canceled her intention to meet Fred and removed all her clothes. Stressed because of this, Lizzie took it out by eating all the food in the refrigerator. And when her body changed to Sue, something strange happened. When Sue was recording Dancing Enthusiastically, suddenly a strange lump appeared on her body, which immediately shocked her and stopped the broadcast. The cameraman also felt that there was something strange about what was happening, so he decided to play the recording again, while Sue went to the dressing room, and what a surprise he was. The food that Lizzie eats cannot be produced because now she can only eat food from the Matrix. Sue also called the distributor and he reminded her that she was one. When Sue was going to her office, Sue was surprised because all the crew were not there. Sue was called by the producer. Apparently, her show was trending on TV and would become the #1 most popular show on television. Because of this, the producer wanted Sue to appear at the top of the show later. New Year. Again and again, Sue took stabilizer fluid from her body haphazardly. She kept delaying her body from changing, which was supposed to be every 7 days, alternating. Because of her selfishness, Lizzie now has new aging on her legs, and found another personality in himself that was not himself. Now Lizzie's body looks like an old grandmother who can't do anything. Even moving her legs is very difficult. Lizzie took the gift her producer gave her as a goodbye gift. It's a cookbook to keep Lizzie busy in her retirement. Lizzie cooks with a TV friend who presents herself in the form of Sue. In the show, the presenter asks what the secret is about Sue's ideal body. On the other hand, Lizzie seems to have two personalities. When the presenter asks her secret, Lizzie actually gets angry because Sue's answer was a lie. Lizzie looked crazy and spoke alone to the mirror that she would stop all this. Lizzie couldn't go on like this. But in reality, now she is back to being Sue, who is very upset with everything that happened. Sue sucks out all the fluids in Lizzie's body and supplies them so that she stays in Sue's body, which is very perfect. 3 months later, Sue's main television show is about to arrive. With Sue's busy schedule, she doesn't think about her other body anymore. Lizzie is considered just an old, useless skeleton. Again and again, Sue called the distributor to help her add fluids so she wouldn't return to her old body, but the distributor told her to just come back to refill her body fluids. Sue is now not controlled. She will return to her old body, while her lover, who has been waiting for her all this time, looks surprised because Sue has not come back. However, now Sue has completely turned into a strange old woman because almost all of her body fluids were taken and Lizzie, Sue's original body, had to bear the risk. Lizzie told her lover to leave, surprised because the sound he made was very different and scary. Her lover left. Lizzie also asked the distributor to send her an injection so she could stop all this madness. Pulled Sue's body and injected the needle so she could stop, but when Lizzie saw a billboard with herself in it, she felt hesitant and stopped the injection with only a little left. What happens now is that Sue's body seems to have a life of its own. Annoyed because she had stopped her dream of becoming a famous star, Sue chased Lizzie, who ran away, and Sue kicked Lizzie until she flew backwards and injured herself. Luckily, Lizzie managed to grab a flower pass and hit Sue with it. Lizzie ran to the bathroom, wanted to close it, but Sue's strength was greater, so Lizzie was beaten by Sue until she died. Lizzie had time to crawl to escape from Sue, but Sue, who was consumed by emotion, didn't even look at herself. After doing this, he remembered the highlight of the event he had to attend. While the preparations seemed complete, Lizzie experienced something strange about herself that night and decided to go to the toilet. It was because her teeth were no longer strong enough. When Sue pulled out the other tooth, it seemed easy to pull out. Remembering Sue's actual activator liquid, Lizzie came home and intended to inject it again. On the way, her nails and ears fell off. With her consciousness decreasing, Sue tried as hard as possible to find the activator fluid and inject it again. His body seemed to regenerate again, but this time it was different, far from perfect. Lizzie now resembles a disorderly monster because she was so determined to be the main star. Lizzie just put up a poster of her face and came to the main event. With many people watching, something strange happened where Lizzie's mask fell off and shocked everyone. Because she was considered a monster, Lizzie was hit and turned herself into a fountain. We will be shown part of Lizzie's body, which was able to move towards her star on the street of Hollywood and fantasized that she was the main star. But in reality, she had to die as a monster. The story of the film is enough and ends.